Oh, what is up, Bills Mafia? Yeah. We have 135 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57. This channel is going to document every single day leading up to that amazing moment with a video. Yeah. Man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Decided to jump on, see who might, show up to say hello. Super excited about the game coming up, of course. I mean, that's going to be a big game. A big game against a tough opponent. No doubt about that. And we can talk about the Tua situation. Also, the showdown between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I mean, apparently those guys are 1 and 2 in the MVP race, the early MVP race here, as we're only 3 games in. But before we go any further, how do you like the bar that I finally got going on? That's right. Look at this thing. I got TV over here, TV right here, TV behind my head. You like it? Got that brick wall back there. Get some neon. Look at all the liquor. Oh my goodness gracious! Might have to have an AA meeting here someday. Yeah, no, this is definitely all fake. It is green screen. But I think this is about what I want my bar to look like. I'm going to start working on it again this weekend. I've been super busy. I have like too many jobs. So the past 3 weekends I've been out doing my second job, which is doing wedding videos. Yeah, that's right. I'm a wedding videographer. Don't tell anybody. Unless they're getting married, then you can tell them. So I'm going to work on the bar. I'm going to start painting the ceiling again. Ever since I painted a few rafters about 6 weeks ago, I haven't touched it, but we'll get going on that. Really going to clear out this place. Got to get it ready for the Super Bowl party that I'm going to have here on February 12th. It's going to be outstanding. Can't wait. It's going to be super duper duper duper. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's going to look something like this. I like that. The brick wall. Obviously, televisions on the wall for watching the games. And if you guys have any suggestions at all on what I could or should do when I'm redoing this thing, let me know. I'm all ears. I am all ears. All right, let's get to some football talk. Football talk, people. Got a couple people dropping in now. I don't get like a lot of people stopping in and sticking around, but that's okay. This is therapy for me. I get to talk football. I don't care if I'm talking to myself about it. I enjoy football. That's how much I enjoy football. I'll talk to myself all day about football. Ask my wife. She's like, yeah, wish you talked to me sometimes, but, go ahead with your girlfriend, Josh Allen. All right. Man, big things going on. First of all, Buffalo picked up a safety, former All-Pro Xavier Rhodes. Then, like 48 hours later, he got injured. What a surprise. So we pick up a guy and he's injured right away. So it doesn't look like he's going to play on Sunday against the Ravens. Our injury report is somewhat getting better. We have some guys coming back. From what I see, Ed Oliver is questionable still, but he's trending in the right direction. I guess Gabe Davis is questionable. He's trending in the right direction. Dane Jackson, I think he's listed as questionable, but he's trending in the right direction. I believe all 3 of those guys are going to play. We're going to need all 3 of those guys, especially the guys on defense against Lamar Jackson. We'll get into that a little bit more in a second. However, we're still without, obviously, Micah Hyde, Tre'Davious White, and Christian Benford. Who would have thought that at this point in the season we'd be absolutely stinking going crazy because we don't have Christian Benford in the lineup? Did anybody see that one coming? Got to get Christian Benford in the lineup. I didn't even know the dude's name until like the first week of the season or the second week. But Christian Benford's out for a couple more weeks at least. So we are still filling in some holes on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, I believe Mitch Morse is trending in the right direction, coming back. So the offense hasn't really they've not been hit with the injury bug, which is kind of interesting because they've played more football than the defense, that's for sure. I mean, 90-some plays last week to the defense only on the field for, 40 plays? That's crazy. And to lose that game is just insane. So a lot has happened since, obviously, Sunday and the Sunday's loss to the Dolphins, and then the whole situation with Tua is that there are a lot of takes on this. I've got mine. I'm gonna go on blast here in a second when it comes to the situation with Tua Tagovailoa. I can never say his name. Tua Tagovailoa. Just call him Tua T. Just one of those words. It's really not that hard to say once you learn the two halves of it, or three, but I just can't do it. Tua T. Call him Tua T. So a lot has happened since the game against the Bills and Tua T's injury in the first half against the Bills. And I actually didn't see what happened when Tua T got back up after getting knocked down by Matt Milano. I didn't see that dude stumble like that. So when he came back in the game, I was like, well, all right, he's coming back in the game. I guess he's all right. I did not see the dude struggle to walk. And that was like, whoa. That was insane. That they let him back in that game after he got knocked down and wrapped his head like that. So that was really piss poor on the Miami Dolphins' part. They went totally against protocol. I read the whole concussion protocol, and it was very specific. If a guy is stumbling, showing a lack of motor skills after a hit to the head, then there's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's taken out of the game, and that's that. So the Dolphins, who are slowly becoming the Cleveland Browns of the South in terms of their ethics and morality, did something in that locker room to get Tua T back out on the field. And we all know that's just trash, especially in this day and age when they are so hypersensitive about concussions, which I'm going to get to a little bit more in a second. But, all us Buffalo Bills fans, sadly, also have that feeling that, hey, we would have won that game going away had Tua T not come back in the game. Although after watching Teddy Bridgewater on Thursday night, I'm now not so sure, because Teddy played some good football. Teddy played some really good football. I think he played better than Tua T, to be quite honest. Well, as good as Tua T. Tua T was playing pretty good. However, back to the injury. So when Tua T goes down and out and really should have stayed out of the game, that in one small way, one semi-insignificant way, it bothers me because Tua T goes out of that game. I do believe that the Bills win that game with Teddy Bridgewater. So then we go into Thursday night, and then we all see what happened with Tua T against the Bengals. I mean, that was very disconcerting is the word when you saw him go down and threw up like a cerebral gang sign. And not to make light of it, but I saw a meme somewhere, and it was like really, really uncalled for, but it was still kind of funny. So the dude goes down and out against the Bengals, and right away everybody's like, well, there you go. That comes from the Bills game. His head was still rattled, and this is where I'm going to kind of go on blast here about that whole situation and concussions and everything. You know, it's a violent sport, and these things happen a lot. And these guys are very competitive, and they want to play. It's not like Tua went out in the first half of the Bills game and told the coaches that he didn't want to go back in, and they forced him back in there. Tua did what he had to do to get back on that field against the Bills. I'm 100% positive of that. They're competitors. They want to play. They know the inherent risks of playing in the NFL, a very violent sport. And unfortunately, these guys get their heads knocked a lot of concussions. So that's one part of it. It's part of the game. The injury that Tua sustained against the Bengals on Thursday night, he was getting knocked out whether he had a concussion that Sunday before or not. I mean, that dude's head was slammed to the ground, and that's that. So that concussion wasn't caused by the concussion that he had on Sunday. Now, obviously, it looks like he's more susceptible to concussions than, maybe some other players. So you have that, right, to consider. What's up, comedian Mo Brown? Go Bills, baby. Go Bills! I love it. Love it when people say go Bills. You ever walk around in public, especially when you're out of town, and you're wearing maybe a Bills hat or a Bills shirt, and some stranger comes by and walks by, and that's all they got to say. Go Bills! It's like, yeah, you're one of us. Love it. It feels so good when they do that. Yeah, go Bills, comedian. So this is what I have to say about the concussion situation with Tua and concussions with anybody. I saw on social media our local radio guys popping off about how this is just so unacceptable and these guys' lives are in danger and you're putting them out there, and the fact that the NFL isn't cracking down on concussions, like the NFL can really do anything about concussions aside from making this a flag football game. And even then, these guys are going to get concussions. How many guys have gotten concussions when they're not even hit? They're just diving over a pile, going up for a pass, falling down, hitting their head. And if you go on to Twitter, Twitter's a joke, but if you go on to Twitter, you see all these people, all these self-righteous ninnies just going off about Tua's concussion and how the Dolphins and the NFL, they don't care about the players, and they're acting as if Tua was, shot with a rifle. The guy got a concussion, and yeah, it was scary. It looks scary. It's really sickening, honestly, the way the human body goes into these fencing positions. The face, and the eyes roll back of the head. It looks horrible. And it makes some people cringe, and it makes other people get to a point where they are acting like somehow, some way, there's evil going on in the NFL. It's a concussion. That's what happens when a guy gets concussion. And there are many other sports where you get concussions. There are many other sports that are much more dangerous than football. Auto racing. Guys die in auto racing probably on the average of one a year. And it's just the way it is. So specifically, I'm talking about some of the guys from WGR here in Buffalo on Twitter just making too much of the concussion situation. It's their hill they want to die on. It's their self-righteous march down, especially guys in the media. They have these self-righteous marches that they go on, and they get, in my opinion, they make it's not a mountain out of a molehill because concussions are very serious. It's not like it's not like I say that all guys, whether they have a concussion or not, should get back out on the field. And I think what the Dolphins did is really shameful, having Tua go back out there against the Bills and not sitting him for this game. But the one YouTuber, I was just watching his live stream about a half hour ago, the Rico Report. He asked the question, if Josh Allen was in a big game and got knocked in the head in the first half, all right, and Josh is in the locker room and he says, I'm fine, I'm going back in. And it's a game that the Bills, I mean, every football game for the most part, unless you stink or you've already wrapped up the division, almost every football game is super important. I'm sure there's a good chance that the Bills would get Josh Allen back in that game. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't know if Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, the Bills coaching staff would tell Josh, sit down. I would like to think so. I would like to think that the Bills organization is way above what the Miami Dolphins have shown to be over the last 7 days. But I don't know. So the Rico Report had a very, very interesting, he posed a really good question that has to make you think. I don't know. And again, these are concussions. They're very serious. But let's not act like, it's the end of the guy's life. Yes, there are studies on CTE, and we definitely have to monitor these players. But they know what they're getting into. They're playing because they love the game. And unless the players themselves start complaining about the hits, right? Why should we? Why should we, why should we carry their burden if they're not worried about it themselves? Anyway, so that's the Tua T situation. I also have a very interesting update on Kim Pegula, which I found really interesting because I have searched the internet for information on Kim Pegula over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks since it came out that she had some sort of health issue. Maybe it's been a little longer than 2 months. But I can't find anything on Kim Pegula. Nothing. Like, what happened to her? Is she okay? Well, it just so happens that I work with somebody whose mother works for the Sabres, and apparently Kim Pegula was there in a meeting. So I don't know what she's dealing with. Obviously, just because she was at a meeting doesn't mean she, is okay. But that was good news to me because I didn't know if the woman was in a coma, if, she was abducted, taken to another country. I didn't know if she divorced Terry Pegula and ran off with a 17-year-old kid. Like, what happened with Kim Pegula? Well, still don't know the details, but I do know from what my friend says, she is alive. Remember that rumor came out that Kim Pegula had died? And when I saw that, all of us were like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But she's alive and well, apparently. I didn't see her, so I'm just going by, secondhand information. But a friend's mother, a friend of mine, her mother was in a meeting with Kim Pegula. So as for now, I guess she's okay. So that was interesting. All right. Got some of those little annoying things out of the way. The Bills, their injuries, the Tua situation, that little tidbit of information that I have about Kim Pegula. And now we are, 48 hours away? Less than, right? What is the countdown? I can't. It was 24 hours, 34, 35, 36, or 7, 38 hours. Does it really matter? Why am I counting down the hours? You could just look on WGR. WGR will tell you how many hours we have. WGR, who has that countdown clock on their website. Anyway, so we're we're real close to what will be, a very big early game in the season. Let's go Buffalo, going into Baltimore to take on the Ravens. And there's so many angles to this game. There's so much, man. This is a juicy, juicy game. It has so much riding on it for only the fourth game of the season. This one, I would say, is, until the Chiefs game, is probably the biggest game for the first half of the season for sure. Obviously, we got to get a win, right? The Dolphins lost, and so we want to pull into a tie with them. Although they have the tiebreaker, we want to pull into a tie with the Dolphins. That's number one. Record is, getting this win is huge, as we obviously try to once and for all get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. It's 1 day, 14 hours, and 18 minutes. So it's 24, 34, 38 hours and 18 minutes until the Bills play the Ravens. This game is huge for playoff implications, for potential home field advantage. This could very well be a preview of a playoff game between the Bills and the Ravens, right? Bills-Ravens playoffs part 2. And, the Ravens played us tough in that game a couple years ago in front of 6,000 fans. It was such a weird season. And, they don't have the defense that they had back 2 seasons ago. They're struggling on defense, especially in the back end. Their DBs, safeties are really struggling against passing offenses. So Josh Allen should be able to take advantage of that. I got a few statistics on that, which I think are really interesting. So the playoff implications, you have the home field advantage potentially on the line. Obviously, we have to pull within a game of the Miami Dolphins. When I say game, they have the tiebreaker over us. And then what I think is the most intriguing of this game, aspect of this game, is the fact that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are 1 and 2 in the MVP race. That's cool. That is, this is a prime time, all eyes on this game, if for nothing else than to see how Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson perform against each other. What a huge game. And a lot of people are already putting Lamar Jackson ahead of Josh Allen in the MVP race. Lamar Jackson, of course, has the most touchdown passes, 10 in the NFL after the first 3 weeks. He is the only quarterback in history to have 2 300-yard passing games and rush for 100 yards. Or no, I'm sorry. 2 games throwing for 3 touchdowns and rushing for 100 yards or more in 2 consecutive games. He's the first quarterback to ever do that. They always have a first for every kind of statistical formula in football. Like every week, somebody does something for the first time in the NFL. First time a defensive end rushes 17 times off the right end, getting 2 sacks on a guy wearing number 14. But anyway, Lamar Jackson's good. He's a good quarterback, and he's proving so far that he's worth the money that he's asking for. The way you're going to play Lamar Jackson, I think, has not changed. You really want to make the guy pass. Although he is an efficient passer, I don't think he's the type of quarterback that can necessarily pick an defense apart. I think he's very efficient with the short passes, finding the open guy underneath, short, and the biggest thing is his tight end, Mark Andrews, is possibly the best tight end in the NFL. And if the Bills can take that dude away, if they can limit his production in this game, then I think the Bills have a super chance of really not just pulling this one out, but winning pretty big, because the Ravens receivers after Mark Andrews, they're not exactly household names. So I do believe that if they can contain Jackson, obviously with the running, I suspect that they will probably have somewhat of a spy on Jackson. I'm thinking Tremaine Edmonds might be the guy that kind of sticks around. Michael, you think he picks defenses apart? It's hard to shut down the middle. I guess you could say he does a good job of taking what the defense gives him. But when I think of picking a defense apart, I think of someone like Josh Allen, that he can pretty much take whatever defense you're in and make it to his advantage. Jackson is better at finding the open receiver or tucking and running when he needs to. I don't necessarily, if you look at his statistics every game, he's like 17 of 22 for 217 yards. He is 15 of 20 for 180 yards. I don't really think that is picking a defense apart. I think that is taking what a defense gives them extremely efficiently. In case I'm wrong, let's look at his statistics over the first 3 games. I think he had a big game against Miami. And again, I'm not saying that he's not a good quarterback. I'm saying that he's good at basically knowing his role, and that is hitting an open receiver somewhere short. And I got a cool stat that I saw about Josh Allen. Here's Lamar Jackson's game log. So he was 18 of 29 for 218 yards. He did have a good game against the Dolphins, 21 of 29, but I think he hit a few long passes. And then against the Jets, he was 17 of 30 for 213 yards. So, he had a really good game against the Dolphins. But the other 2 games are just like I always see with Lamar Jackson. And that is complete just enough to keep defenses honest. And then what he does is, when he can't throw the ball, he runs. You take away that running ability, and Lamar Jackson is definitely going to be struggling like he did against the Bills in the playoff game. So you're guys saying that I'm just talking about passing. It's hard to just put him in one category. Yeah, that is the dynamic nature of Lamar Jackson. He's efficient with his passes. He does not pick a defense apart, but he completes the passes that he needs to complete. And then the dude on defenses that are not disciplined, he'll take off and run for 80 yards and a touchdown. That's Lamar Jackson. So you take away his running, and you beat the Ravens. That's as far as I can. And when I say taking away the running, I mean limit him to like 60 yards or less, because he's going to get yards on you most likely, although he gets sacked a lot, and the Bills did a great job against him in that playoff game a couple of years ago. So that's kind of where I'm at with that whole game plan. And I do believe that the Bills need to be disciplined and keep a guy, a spy, I guess is the way to go with. I would like to see Tremaine Edmonds just, keep his eye on Lamar Jackson the whole time, stay underneath. And do we play man-to-man or zone? I think we play more zone in this game. And, of course, the pass rush is the biggest thing. And so with Von Miller, and hopefully Ed Oliver's in there. Also, Greg Rousseau. I don't think the Bills are going to have too much problem implementing the type of defense they have to against Lamar Jackson. So here is the cool thing, man. What happens is the Bills come out of this game with a win, in my opinion. A big win, especially after that loss they had in Miami. They're going to be up for this one. I mean, we're playing in Baltimore, and that is not an easy thing. Playing on the road is never easy unless, of course, you're playing in Jacksonville or Los Angeles or someplace where the fans don't really care about their football team. And they do in Baltimore. And even though Baltimore's defense has not been too good this season, it's just Baltimore. And they just, every time you see Baltimore or Pittsburgh or one of those teams that historically have a really good defense, I just expect to see them play really good defense. So we'll see what happens there. A poor defense could all of a sudden look like a world-beating defense in one game. So I'm not counting on the Ravens defense to not be good. But what's going to be really cool is if it works out the way I think it will, the Bills getting their yards and their points against the Ravens, of course, through the air with Josh Allen. Coming out of this game, I would like to see, of course, we all want to see there be no debate on who is the MVP the leader for the MVP race being Josh Allen. I would love to see something like, Josh Allen, Kansas City Chiefs game or New England game, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 70 yards rushing, going 28 of 34, and then Lamar Jackson having his game, 15 completions on 26 attempts, 162 yards. We'll give him a touchdown to Mark Andrews and 2 picks. We got to get Kiar Elam in the pick category, and I think that could be one of Kiar Elam's got to have that game, and this could be it. That one game where there he is, he's arrived. So hopefully that something like that will happen. So do I think the running backs I think they will the running backs more in the passing game again. Okay, I see them trying to spread the ball around a lot and get them to the running backs. I would love to see James Cook, really start to take the next step in this whole process on their offense. So, and everybody's talking about the Bills running backs and what a waste it is. We've only rushed the ball, I think, 49 times since the beginning of the season. And, why are we investing in 3 running backs if we're not running the ball? And, of course, after a loss, everybody's like, oh, we gotta run the ball better. I don't really care about running the ball, and I don't really care that we have 3 running backs on the field as long as when they are on the field, they make a difference. And Singletary's made a difference. Zach Moss has made a difference. And James Cook had a decent game last week, so on Sunday. So, yeah, I do think that they'll continue to do the same thing. I think I really would like to see Dawson Knox also step up his production. And you think we're going to knock, and Comedian says you think we'll knock Lamar out of the game like last time. And then the Buffalo fans donate $200,000 to his charity. That'd be cool. I'll take that. And so, and Comedian think we'll destroy the Ravens. I'll give my prediction here at the end of my little stream down to my bar, which, by the way, do you guys like the bar? Been working on it. Got the couple TVs going. I put some Bills, action on there. Right here, it's a Bills game from 1981. We got behind me, 1991 season in review. And then the far corner over here, it's Bills Buccaneers with JP Lossman. Saw a green screen. It's not real. Does it look real? Tell me if it looks real. It's totally fake. It's a picture I got off the internet and then ran some video over the picture. But I'm going to hopefully have my bar looking something like this when I finally get going on it. This weekend, I'm going to start painting the rafters. Again, try to finish that all up, clean it up down here, and then I got a buddy who's going to come in here. He's like super geeked out on doing remodels, so he wants to hook me up, and I can't wait. Can't wait for that. All right, so back to the Ravens game. Dang. I mean, when you come off a loss like the Bills came off against the Dolphins, you can't get to the next game fast enough. So I kind of laid out what I think their game plan is going to be. Keep Jackson's running in check. Let him hit his short passes, and they'll eke out a few points. I could see, the Ravens keeping it close in the first half. But from what I understand, the Ravens' pass defense is just abysmal. I think last in the league. And I saw a statistic today that Josh Allen has the highest quarterback rating for deep passes. It's like 151. So he hits a lot of deep passes. And Stephon Diggs is going home. I mean, he played at Maryland, so he's going to have a lot of people in that stadium there to watch him perform well. And there's a lot to be said about a guy and extra incentive to play well. So I expect to see Stephon Diggs have a huge game. Now, Jake Kumerow's out. And the question is now, like, who steps up behind Stephon Diggs, especially if Gabe Davis is still hobbled a little bit. I don't know if he's going to play or not. I guess he's still up in the air. If Gabe Davis doesn't play, I mean, I think it's Khalil Shakir time. I think Shakir comes in and finally starts to get worked into the offense a little bit. I heard a lot about him. Tell me what you guys think when it comes to our wide receiver position, right? Jake Kumerow's out. Do you not want to see Isaiah Hodgins get in there? I mean, watching that guy in preseason, I was like, this dude could be a future player. Isaiah Hodgins could be a player in the NFL. I'm not saying that he could be the next Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or Stephon Diggs or even the next Isaiah McKenzie, but I think the guy can make plays. And yes, I do think Diggs gets a touchdown, maybe more. So if you are a betting man, go to your betting app right now and put down $5 on Diggs to get an anytime touchdown. That's my suggestion. Can everybody just pause for a second? Because something's happening on my screen and I don't know what to say about it. What the heck is that? Mr. Robert, are you kidding me? I don't think I've cried in 46 years since... Actually, I cried last year after 13 seconds, but I'm crying now. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Mr. Bob Lawrence. Honey, we're going to eat tonight. Go get the kids. We're going to Arthur Treacher's. Thank you, Mr. Bob Lawrence. My kids and my wife can eat now. Do you want some? Because if you do, I can have, what do you call it? DoorDash, bring some food to your house. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Bob Lawrence. I've never gotten a tip that big before in my life. Ever. That is outstanding. Thank you, sir. Tell you what I'm going to use that for. I'm going to use that towards the brick that I'm going to actually put on my bar wall coming up here in the next few weeks. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. I can't thank you enough. And what the heck animation is that? It's a green blob on a rocket. That's how I feel. I feel like a blob on a rocket. All right. That's awesome. And if anybody else wants to, throw $50 at me, I'll bring my wife down here and I'll tell her to do stuff for you. I'm only kidding. Relax. All right. I'm not kidding, actually. I'll bring her down here. I'll have my wife dance for you. She's all right looking, too. All right. Back to football. So the Bills and Ravens game has got so many elements to it. It is a game that's going to be possibly a playoff preview. It's a game that we need if we want to possibly get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We certainly don't want to win certainly don't want to lose 2 in a row. It is a game where it is an MVP showcase. I mean, the guy that comes out of this game, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, is going to have a distinct advantage. Obviously, if they play well, not who wins, but who plays better is going to have a distinct advantage in winning the MVP race. And of course, that's just a prize that a player wins. It's not something that we've got to have, right? But we want it, don't we? Of all the things that players and teams get recognized for, having the guy that's the MVP of the league on the team is something special. So, it's kind of like the home run record that Aaron Judge is trying to get. He didn't get it yet, did he? He tied it, right? So to have the home run champion on your team, especially if he breaks that 61 home run mark, is something special, and that's what we want. We want Josh Allen. By the way, have you guys seen that Josh Allen has a couple national commercials now? I saw him have one with Gillette, and then he had another with, what was that I saw? I can't remember what it was, but Josh Allen in the national spotlight with some endorsement deals. So that's cool. That's cool. All right, so that's it, man. That's kind of what I had. I just wanted to share my thoughts about Tua. Wanted to tell you about Kim Pagula. Apparently, she's all right, or at least she's out in the public, and no updates on her at all, which I think is crap by the media. Not to at least try to tell everybody that she's walking around. And then, of course, the Ravens, the Bills injuries, the Ravens game, our game plan, stuff that I think that the Bills need to do moving forward when it comes to, how they're going to attack this team. They're going to Baltimore tomorrow. Or do they leave tonight? They might have left tonight. I don't know. Bob, thank you. I don't know what to say, man. You're too good to me. You already know that. I think that's why you do that. You make me feel bad all the time because I treat you like crap. Yes, everybody, I do know Bob. I work with them. I'll get that $50 back to you. I'll buy lunch. We'll flip for it. We'll flip for lunch. Every time we have lunch, we get a quarter out, we flip for it, and we do best of 7. I usually lose. So can't wait for the game. Oh, and I'm going to live stream the game. I'm going to do it down here in my little bar. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to possibly start booking some guests. And I'm also thinking about opening up phone lines. So some of you can do more than just send chat messages. We can actually talk, and it'd be a lot of fun. And if you don't have an ugly face, I'll put you right there on the screen. Actually, if you have an ugly face, that's fine too. Just don't be too ugly. All right. So, folks, I really thank you for coming. Buffalo Bills, Ravens. Can't wait. It's going to be a big game. But we have one day before then, and that's where I say, I'll see you tomorrow.